So happy new year everyone. Thought we'd come up the allotment today, being the first video of the year. We're actually going to do a plot tour. So I'm Gary and this is
Ben.
And this is G&B Allotment Vlogs. Roll the titles. So here we are on plot 1. Now in here we've actually planted a field of green manure, and the green manure we've grown, you can just see there is Phacelia. Now the reason why we put the sign there is the parish council are clamping down on overgrown plots and weeds, and I just wanted to kind of make them aware that's actually a crop or a green manure growing here, and I didn't want to get a letter saying that my plot was overgrown. So, and it also helps other people understand that the green manure, what it is, and the name. So here we are on the first one. This is the bean bed, and we left all the beans to go to seed, dried them out in the greenhouse, and we've got quite a few beans for next year. In here we got our elephant garlic. You can just see they're all starting to come through. There's a few here that have been pushed out. They've got to be replanted. What happens is the roots force them up back out the ground. Here we've got silent white garlic all the way along. And then over here we've got early purple. Now along the back here we just laid a little bit of fresh bark chippings along the back, and we get a lot of wild blackberries growing through, so we want to start tying them along this fence to try and fill this gap up, just so we've got a little bit of cover there so people can't see into the plots, and just sort of tidy it up rather than having a gap. And you can see this is how far it's got, all the way from down there. We do want to do the same in the middle, and obviously when the blackberries grow in here we can just pick those off. So yeah, this is plot 1. We've got some thornless blackberries growing in there as well. We've got 2 of those, one there and one here, and we are going to put some trellis up these poles to grow them against. And yeah, and this other path here we just top dressed with a little bit of bark chipping as well. This here was a Japanese tree that was given to us. I was a bit conscious of it actually surviving because there's very little roots left, so unfortunately they did, die. So cut all that back and put it into the garden waste collection bins, and then eventually we're going to get this dug out and cut down. Not quite sure on what we're going to put here. But yeah, this is our first plot of 3. Just a back view of the Phacelia here, and then we've got 3 compost bins as well. So yeah, that's our first plot. I'll take you down to our second plot now. So here we are at plot 5. It's very, very wet underfoot. This is an overview of plot 5. Now in here we did grow some parsnips. They were kind of some supermarket rejects, so we picked them up pretty cheap. They did grow, but sadly didn't do much. and that was the result. So we've just pulled them out, and then we're going to fill those tubes up and have another go to try and get giant parsnips to grow the whole length of that fiberglass tunnel there. Down this side we've got all our spare canes, a weed membrane there, some stakes, guttering and whatnot. That is one of the trellises there that we're going to grow the blackberries up against. Ben has painted that. Over here at the front, this here was our wild flower bed. I put in 2 globe artichokes, but I'm not quite sure this is the right place for them. We get very strong winds coming in from the golf course there with no protection, and they're snapping off quite easily. So I think we're going to move that to the back of the plot somewhere where it's a bit more wind protected. In our tunnel here, or should I say archway, we've still got green peas growing from last year. They all need to come out now. We've got a climbing jasmine growing up there, that will need to cut back, and we've left our dahlias in there, so we just need to top those up. This here is our daffodil bed. These are all the raspberry canes that grew through last year, autumn raspberries. I do keep pulling them, but they still keep shooting, so I'm going to have another go pulling these up, see if I can cut them back and relocate them. This here is spent cannabis, coca coir compost, and the little clay pebbles. There's a big cannabis farm raided by the police, and I think we ended up with about 8 tonnes of compost between the plot holders. We just had to go and collect it all up from these little canvas bags. The police gave up, there were so many plants, so they just said to help us there. They cut the plants off obviously and said, yeah, we're going to have that. So yeah, that's going to get used in some places. Down here are our herbs. They need tidying up. But we've got some lemon verbena here, still growing strong. Rosemary in here. Golden thyme, mint. Sage, parsley, oregano, more parsley there, a comfrey in this one, and then here are our chives. As I said, they do need all cutting back and tidying up. It's just been so wet underfoot. Along back here we had our flowers, winter pansies, summer pansies and the like. They've all been taken out, just a few left at the end, which we're going to relocate. Not quite sure what we're going to grow along here, but we've got some volunteer garlic. I didn't grow garlic in here last year, so where it's come from must have been the year before. Here we've got our strawberry bed here. We've cut all the runners back and the dead foliage, and I'll insert a clip showing you all the runners that we've got at home towards the end of the video. So these are some of those strawberries and cranberries that we never got around to potting up, but they're actually all really rooting really well. Just from being out in the rain, look at the root system on that. And these are all the small ones and that. Some brilliant, lovely roots. Again, these plants here really getting on growing quite big without any compost at all, just rain. So I'm now going to show you the greenhouse and the onions that are ready to go up. Here are cranberries, and what we've done, we've put a 1 metre wide weed membrane down, and we've got one of these hole boring tools for planting bulbs. It has like a circular end and it has a clamp to release the soil. So we just heated that up with our little gas stove, and then we melted in perfectly round holes and then we cut all the runners off and repotted those, replanted them through the membrane. And what we're going to do this year is we're just going to cut off the runners as we see them to try and get a bit of a better crop. We had some raspberries in here again, it needs all weeding. Over here, some more cranberries. Now these nets here, or should I say the framework for the nets, are too high. We're actually going to lop them off about half the size. They don't need to be that high, and it's just going to waste a lot of netting. As long as the pigeons and the birds can't get to them, it really doesn't need to be that high. We had a couple of old tables and we sat them over these beds here. I was going to drape the netting over, but I think we're going to use the water pipe on those. So this is a bed before we separated the runners out. So this is a kind of before, and that is an after. And again, I'll show you at home all the runners that we've got. And this one here also yet to be done with the weed membrane. This area here we've never got round to, you know, scraping off the top surface, removing all the weeds. And then we've got to put more weed membrane down over here and here. We've got 2 more trees to go in. You may remember the video last year where we had some trees delivered and we put them into a trench and healed them in. Well, unfortunately we've still got 2 trees left down there, but they're perfectly alive, they're all budding up well, so there's no harm done. But we did get 2 of the trees in, one here and then one over the back. I would tell you the names, but I don't think I can remember. Unless I can see them on there. No, I'll have to look at our records to tell you what they were. But we started digging the hole there for one of them, and then the other one's going over here. Ideally, we want to make this whole plot here herbs and veg. These are going to be full-size trees, but we have to cut them down at 8 foot. We're not allowed anything over 8 foot. So we did have dwarf trees that we started off 2 years ago, which are in this little mini orchard here. They're the cordon trees where you get fruit growing up the middle of the stem. We had 2 apples last year out of everything. So I'm not sure if that works as well as what we want. We've got a grape here. We had a few grapes off, but they were very, very small. I think we're going to move that home, put that in the greenhouse. Over here we've got our tayberry, and we just tied the runners in along, cut all the rest off. Then all the fruit grows along here and we can just pick them off and grow them. Over here we've got gooseberry cane here, or gooseberry bush rather than a blackcurrant bush there. We've got one cutting that was planted a couple of years ago, which is taken but hasn't really done much. And again, another one over here. At the back here we've got 3 rhubarb plants. They started growing through with all the wet weather. Not much frost yet, but it's still going. Now this one here, Ben's going to lift off, is a rhubarb plant. There you go, rhubarb plant that we're forcing. Now forcing means you're forcing the plants to grow with artificial light by keeping it dark. And you're supposed to be able to grow long, spindly canes, which are a lot sweeter in flavour. Now, some people like to do this, some people don't. I've never done it, it's the first year. But they do say that it ruins the integrity of the plant. And, you know, it doesn't do much in subsequent years. But we're having a go. And it's been like that for about a month and hasn't really done a lot. I was expecting it to be up here by now from what I've seen on other videos. But considering, you know, the other 2 plants are growing, let's put a little bit of growth on. So yeah, we'll see how that works out for us. This area here, by the end of next year, or this year should I say now, we want to have raised beds the whole length of this pot, and we're going to have something in each and every bed. This here was our brassica cage. We've got sprouting broccoli in here. Don't really quite see that there. But I've had to cover it up with the nets again because the pigeons have been having great fun. I don't know whether you can see there, but they've pecked off the tops of the plants. We've had some good Brussels. Still got quite a few plants growing there. I'm just going to see if I can walk around and give you a better shot of those. We've had some good Brussels this year, and there we've still got quite a few plants in there. A couple of bigger ones up here. We're still getting a lot of caterpillars on them. We've been pulling off all the flowers with the caterpillars on. You can see where the caterpillars that they've been eating the plant, and as I say, the tops been eaten by the old wood pigeons, or flying rats as we like to call them. These beds over here we've yet to plant, so we've got 1, 2, 3 beds there. They've all got to be de-weeded, and then our homemade compost topped up, and then we're going to cover them and plant through them. So here's one we made earlier, and down here we've got our broad beans to go in. Now we've got, I think one's called Aquadolce Claudia is that one, and this one is A.D. Monica. So we're going to plant those through the membrane and then stake each one out individually. These 4 plots here are going to have onions in, which we've got growing in the greenhouse. I'll put a clip of those in the video at the end just to show you. So here in the greenhouse are all our onions. We do need a little bit of water actually, but they are well and truly ready to go out. And up here are some of the cranberries and strawberries that we did pot up. Again, they need a little bit of water, but they're doing pretty well. And what they're looking like, and these are those 2 trees that I mentioned earlier, but you know, they're perfectly alive. Got some good buds growing there. I know this one here is a cherry, because as soon as the blossoms dropped off, we've got little tiny green cherries. They were gone overnight, devoured by the birds. Over here we've got our manure bay. This here is concentrate manure water, where we'd left a barrel full of manure, and it's through that water we drained off the cow muck, and that's left a strong mixture which we're going to bottle up and use it as a liquid fertiliser. This is one of the 2 compost bays that we lined in an earlier video. I'll try and enter a caption at the top to show you that, but this is one of the beds that we grew, or should I say made, using Proplex flooring, about £2.50, an 8x4 sheet in Wixers, which is what builders lay on their floor or people's floors, just to give some kind of protection. This one here is our other bay, which we haven't yet lined. So yeah, this one has just got to be lined, the same as that one. And this is 1-year-old compost. That's pretty good stuff underneath, bulks up pretty well. We just need to sort out the bits that haven't broken down and transfer that all into this bay, and then we can use what's in here. So yeah, that's a bit of a plot tour for you. I haven't done one in a long while. I don't like doing plot tours unless, you know, things are nice and neat and tidy, but this time of the year everybody's plots are the same. They're all overgrown, broken down from the winter and gone into hibernation mode. So yeah, I thought the first video of the year, what should I do? I thought in January, beginning of January, I'll do a plot tour, and then I can look back at it, you know, January next year and see how much we've done, how far we've come. Just mention this is our IBC tank here that's over half full, and we've got a solar pump, or a 12-volt pump connected to a battery and solar panels, which we haven't got up on the roof yet. We just drop that in there and we can, you know, water the plant, rather than have to keep going over to the communal butt there where you're not allowed to touch any hose pipes, etc. We try and collect as much rainwater as we can into these bins, and that's what all these bins are here for, bins. Just drained them all, so there's not a lot in, but up until today they were kind of half full. So yeah, that's all rainwater over there. No guttering yet, we haven't got the guttering on the shed, but we do try and save as much as we can. So yeah, that's the plot tour from January. Don't know whether you saw the last video I posted up yesterday, which is our new intro and outro credits. Hope you do like them, a little bit different to previous years. But I think it's something we're going to do now every year, just change the intro up. And we're also going to be labelling all our videos episode numbers. So this one will be season 2 episode 1, previous one the intro, season 2 episode 00. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, leave us a comment. If you're not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing. We are a relatively new startup channel, and we're learning all the time from YouTube and other people's feedbacks. And yeah, every subscriber we get, Ben and I love it. It just shows that somebody that's interested in watching what we do. So yeah, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we get any new videos released. I've got another couple of videos to edit and they will go up this week, so keep an eye out those. But for now, I'm Gary and this is Ben, and this is G&B Allotment Vlogs. Ta-ra!